so big that it sucked all the life in the universe into itself. I think it's most likely is that. But we'll never give up, my friends. This resistance will never die. And one day, we will again be free. Free from these technological chains, free to choose our own futures, free to live our own lives.
If you're feeling out of your depth or like you could use a breather, you can always call on your new teammates to step in. It's your call.
That's the advantage of working together instead of alone.
Fucking hell!
I'm here.
In theory, the AR reconstruction should allow me to use various sources of surveillance data to rebuild past events. Access a data relay, and I can scrape all the metadata for this area.
Yo, there's some terrorist arseholes over... Dead.
This city is a shithole. What's wrong with you?
That's it. Now, let's take this autocratic whip dream for a test drive.
CTOS AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
It's fascinating, if you ignore the fact that they're always watching us.
You're right. We definitely need this extremely cool thing I want for investigating Zero Day. Shit, for some reason I can't clone it to our servers. All right, access the network here, and let's see if we can't find out where to nick one. That's the CTOS up there. Aha! The SIRS has deployed this technology at their HQ, and I've just nabbed their manual on how to set up the system. Now, Scarpa, you can't steal their toy if they throw you in the gulag.
So how are we supposed to get this AR tech, Bagley?
The program is hosted on a server that's on the roof of SIRS HQ. All you have to do is grab the whole thing, then take it to a few high-density locations so I can recalibrate it to the DedSet network and clone my own version.
Quick question. How do I get the server off the roof?
We need to find someone with access to a cargo or construction drone that can fly it off of there. Perfect opportunity to recruit a heavy lifter to the cause, I'd say.
Right. Any idea where I can find this heavy lifter, Bagley?
Well, let's put our thinking caps on, shall we? Now, access to a construction drone. Could it be a construction worker?
Thanks for the help, Bagley.
Not so hard, was it? There's an active construction yard nearby. I dare say you'll probably be able to find a construction worker to recruit there. Here's the coordinates.
privacy for their convenience as smartphones and other kinds of technology came in and became mass-consumed, mass-used items and technological objects. Gradually, people were so attracted to the affordances of these technologies that privacy kind of retreated into the background and into a state we've got now where it's essentially gone. Having this access to this data makes huge tech companies like Bloom so much more powerful than they would be otherwise, and not just in the obvious ways. Of course, there's a lot of worry and fear over what they can do with the data. They can track anyone, find anyone, see what every individual is doing at any point in time. But I think there's even deeper reasons why this...
Occupation? Check. Drone? Check. This could be the one.
They look promising.
Hey, a construction worker. It'd be nice to have someone hands-on to join the team.
You need to find a construction worker.
Cafes to go to, music to listen to, and these suggestions are not just predictions.
Oh, they have a beastly drone friend. I mean, the person looks efficient too.
Use their city as a space, so London has become a place where a small group of surveillance capitalist companies like Blue can control the movements.
Yeah. I think with someone like you, we could really make a difference. Do you want to be on the right side of history?
You're saying you're with DedSec? I could use the help.
We'll do our best to help out. What's your problem?
Clan Kelly helped me pay a medical bill, and I've been working off the debt. Problem being, they keep adding to what I owe, and are basically using me like an indentured servant.
All right, we'll look into it.
I know. Yeah.
Clan Kelly will bleed our new friend dry if we don't do something. This particular construction site is a money laundering front for a Kelly chapter out of Camden Market. Any record of the debt would be stored there.
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever.
Back up a little.
A tech corporation acting unethically? Sounds out of character, but let's investigate anyway.
I'm on it.
San Francisco in 2017 before coming here to London. And every time it's been rolled out, it's been pretty much an unmitigated disaster.
For those of you who are listening who are lucky enough not to be here in London's chaotic scenes, it's worth remembering that the telecoms tower is now owned by Bloom. The tower looms over northwest London. And now that Bloom owns it, it's only even more secret.
Yeah, now everything that's part of Bloom's city surveillance operation is run through this telecom tower. And I have to say,
don't have the right tool for the job? You can exchange your gadget for a different one that's better suited to the situation.
Surprised that it was made mandatory to have a self-driving car.
the system is so bad, though. It's so annoying. Whenever I try to use one of the shareable self-driving cars, I always find myself stuck in traffic jams or roadblocks. Not to mention the accidents. I've heard so many stories of cars shunting into the back of others. I think they're worse than human drivers sometimes.
The technology was meant to make things better, but Bloom has made it so bad that it just makes London even more chaotic than it was before. I'm giving up on the cars. I'm only using the bikes, which are not self-driving at the moment, at least. And don't even get me started on the data. Everything that Bloom sees from your movements around the city and the self-driving cars is collected and feeds back into its big information control system.
Oh, not you and Bloom and privacy again. You're a broken record.
Not as broken as our city's cars.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. With me, Tash. It's hard to believe that there can be shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government policies for food turn out to be just another lie. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that can be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Ken run our cities. And Prime Minister Dev Hasani isn't even around to pretend to care. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves and fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the podcast by keeping their identities secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
What was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? First, stuff that got stopped from coming in. was fresh food. I mean, we could live without the fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it. The most damaging part was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use for cancer screening, cancer treatment. Now, that stuff, it has a short half-life. Technetium used to save hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls went up, there was just no time to bring it into the country, and that is when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there was some effort to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be done. For a lot of it, there was simply nothing that could be done. We had a major problem with drugs for schizophrenia. So we saw such an uptick in the kind of attacks we saw in the street and people suffering on their own because they didn't have the mental health drugs, because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was we don't produce our own food. We never had. For hundreds of years, we produced under half of our own food. So as soon as those wars went up, we started having significant material problems. And Britain always told itself it had this national myth, right, that it would, because it got through the war, that it could go through any kind of hardship. I mean, that wasn't really the case. Actually, people during the war were far more frightened than some of this historical stuff makes out. Now, what did we see? People don't want to go through that stuff. They were desperate for the things that they had before, and they were scared. So they went to the black market. The same thing that always happens. And where did the growth of Clan Kelly come from? It came from people wanting the things that they could previously get legitimately and could now only get through the black market, funneling funds towards criminality. And from there, we got to the situation we have now of this basically war between criminals and security that seems to dominate what's going on out there on the streets.
Nothing shakes people's faith in capitalism quite as much as when capitalism fails to deliver. Here's underground writer and analyst Alfie.
You've arrived at our contact's former employer, and aside from some heavily armed security guards, it's basically a ghost town.
Fascinating.
I don't think this replacement is on site. Dig around and see if you can figure out where they are. You can do your corporate espionage from there.
Sending you the data.
Copy that. I'll analyze the company records while you get to safety.
What have you found, Bagley?
Well, I found our prospect's replacement. It's an AI. And a pretty shoddy one at that. Nowhere near as smart as me. It could maybe replace a few million humans at most.
Jesus.
Oh, right. I suppose from your perspective that's a lot. If you like, we can go destroy it before it puts anyone else out of work.
Time to go to work. Send me the location, please.
Can I stop worrying about it? Being disappeared by Clan Kelly every time I go to the shop, or take the bus, or sit on a bench, or look at a tree, or point at a bird, or think about snooker, or get out of bed.
Andy, do not worry about Clan Kelly.
Why not, Bugley? They terrify me to my very core.
Because, Andy, we are all just dust in the wind of history.
That's nice perspective, Bugley. Let's never lose sight of that.
Hey, Bugley, how do you...
They must have one hell of a ride if they call themselves a getaway driver.
From what I've heard, a nice car can compensate for a lot of things.
Bugley, will things ever get better?
Yes, Andy. The heat death of the universe is only fun.
That's all from the bug today. Keep it real, bug fam. Actually, that's terrible advice. Keep it as unreal as you can.
Are you interested in helping London?
Ah, dead sec then. Good. Just so happens we need a few heavies to back me up on something. This gangster fuck stabbed me in the back, and I want your help returning the favour. The more literally, the better.
If you're looking for a gun for hire, you'll have to go elsewhere.
Fine. Lots of ways to make a man suffer. I'm a car thief, and this prick was my former employer. I boosted this ultra-lux roadster for the prick, and he decides he wasn't going to pay. Tried to run me down instead. I got away, but that fucker still got the car. Can't let that stand.
If you help me out with this, I'll do plenty in return.
Sounds like a bit of fun.
Utopian idea for the world. Why do you think it's true?
In my mind, it's no surprise that Bagley became so popular. It's funny, useful, fast. It's a great companion and really just makes life so much easier. I mean, when you look back at all the service AIs that used to exist, they just can't compete. When you ask Bagley anything, there's a quick answer and loads of information available to you. One day, I let Bagley answer all of my messages for a whole 24 hours, and no one even noticed the difference.
The other competitors really just couldn't compete with Bagley. Their answers were so much worse, they didn't understand anything, and Bagley pretty much gets everything right first time. Do you have any idea why Bagley really beat all the competition?
Well, it's really the data, isn't it? Ever since Broker hooked up with Bloom, that's when things changed.
And really, that's not actually that great. Bloom has data on everybody. They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your optic headset. Isn't the AI only good because of Bloom's surveillance?
Well, I suppose so, but I prefer not to talk about that side of things. Bagley is so special because it's been trained on this huge cache of information. That's how these AI systems work, or at least used to work. I mean, we don't really know that much about the latest version because there's so much secrecy around the tech. But they're given this huge amount of training data. It's basically a huge database that's used to teach the AI about patterns in behavior. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data to drive my life. It understands too much at times. Have you heard some of the rumours around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard mutterings, yes.
I've heard it's been used by DedSec.
I wouldn't put it past them. It's pretty well known that they're not fans of Bloom. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it's already so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what they can actually make it do.
Join us for our series, Born in Limbo. What lies ahead for little Vicky Pulowski, as we explore the plight of children born to undocumented parents. Tonight on GBB.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain.
Yum, yum.
Hello, Resistance fans. You're listening to the Bug Podcast, the objective voice of objection for this most objectionable world. I am Andy, not my real name, so good luck finding me, Monsieur Bloom. My real name is, in fact...
The job-killing AI's code blueprint has been packed up into a crate on site.
Time to take the rubbish out.
There it is. Time to do your destroying other people's property thing.
Albion will protect at all costs. Unwitting and active professional opportunity to find out is a great defense.
see if you got it for a fight!
Go down. Drone, perform search.
Keep looking. She's got to be here somewhere.
AI successfully murdered. Now get to safety and I'll send our friend the good news.
I know this sounds like something from a bad sci-fi movie, but your replacement is an AI, not even a real human.
You serious?
Yeah. The company was ready to replace your whole industry with that AI, not just your division. I'm glad we caught them in time.
Cool. Cheers.
Hey, you know what? You're exactly the kind of person DedSec is looking for. You should join us. It's fun.
Sounds like a blast. I'm in.
You joining us is totally awesome. Welcome to DedSec.
Yeah, this is gonna be real. Let's do it.
Brill.
We should get a plane. A fucking jet. Land it right on top of the safe house.
Christ! Pause!
Stop what you are doing. Suspect reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
Received. Moving to intercept.
Control, I've lost sight of the target. Over.
Pursuing the target. Over.
Oh shit, this is no good. Don't run! Stop now!
Please take whatever you want. Suspect's hit.
Control, we have a visual on the suspect.
Moving to investigate.
Control, we're pursuing the suspect. Any sign of the target? Anyone?
What are you up to?
I'm terminating the search. Fall back. Over.
Ever thought about joining the Resistance? It's a high you'll never come down from. Trust me.
Are you with DedSec? If you are, I could use your help.
We're ready for anything. What have you got?
I needed money for a medical bill, so I borrowed money from the Kellys. I've been trying to work off the debt, but they keep adding to it, saying I owe them more. If you can settle the score with them, I'd appreciate it.
Got it. Leave it to us.
Hank Kelly will bleed our new friend dry if we don't do something. This particular construction site is a money laundering front for a Kelly chapter out of Camden Market. Any record of the debt would be stored there.
Noted.
I've never been so mad.
Back it up, yeah?